I'm mystery author Sarah Rosette, and in this short video, I'm going to give you an overview of a software called Vellum that makes it really easy to create EPUBs and MOBIs. So let's get started. All right, when you open Vellum, you can do File, New, and it will bring up this screen here. There's several ways you can import documents. One way is just open, and you'll get a dialog box, or you can just drag and drop, which is what I'm going to do. And there's your files. So let me give you a quick overview. You've got the navigator or the sidebar right that shows you your different chapters. Then you've got the preview pane, which shows you in real time the changes that you make. It shows you how they'll look on an e-reader. And you can check it out in all the different formats. It's got Kobo Glow, it's got Nook, it's got an Android tablet, and you can change, the size of your font, whatever you would like it to look like. So I'm going to leave it on iPad because that's actually the easiest to read for this video. So now when you bring something in, Vellum is going to look at the different items that are imported and try and figure out what they are. So you can see it's a little messed up here, but we'll fix that. First, I'm going to go to Book Info and put in the information that's going to show up on the title page. Now this is going to be drawn from the properties, from the metadata in the file that you imported. So if you didn't fill it in, it's going to be blank, but that's really easy to fill in. So let's take a minute and do this. This is Death in the English Countryside, and I'm going to do a subtitle with the series information. And then I will add my name there. All right, now Vellum does not have an automatic save capability at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and save it, and I'm going to call it English Countryside Example. And that way we'll make sure we have all our information that we want. We won't lose anything. Okay, so next we can fill in any other contributors you have, your publisher link. I'm not going to do that right now, but I do want to show you, you can import an image. So I have a logo for my publishing, and then you can also just drag and drop the cover. There you go. And it says this satisfies the minimum requirements, so I'm going to go with that right now. Now let's go look at, we'll save real quick. Then we'll go in here in chapter 1. Now obviously Vellum didn't know what this was. Maybe I had a blank page. So it puts it in there, but we don't need it. So I'm just going to right click on it and remove. And then this one and this next one are part of the copyright page. So what you can do is you hold down, you select one, hold down Shift, and then you go up here to chapter, and then you merge, and it adds the information together. Now, this little gear right here will show you what Vellum thought this document was. So it did not know, so it's uncategorized. So I'm going to make it a copyright page. And this is one of the best features about Vellum. You can go through and say, okay, this is, these different types of pages. You've got a dedication, epigraph, all these different things also and it will format them correctly so that it looks right on the e-readers, and you don't have to do a lot of individual work on each page. So now this one, I like mine to all be justified on the left, so I'm going to make this an alignment block so it'll all be together. So these are different elements you can add within the text. So you can change things bold, italics, or you can just put them all together and so that they're formatted together, and then you can click on the gear again and make them left formatted. So that looks good to me. If you want to have a note over here that it was created in Vellum, that will show up. If you don't want that, you can uncheck that. So let's look at this about Death of the English Countryside. Now this is what I usually put as an introduction, and it will change it to introduction, but you can go in here and you can say whatever you want it to say. And it's going to be book 1 in the Murder on Location series. Now if you want to, you can make this a subhead, and it will show up over here like this. Now I have some extra spaces in here. I'm going to delete those. Okay, so let's look at this next page. Now this is something that I really love about Vellum. You can convert this to an epigraph and it knows what this is and it formats it correctly, centered and with some white space above it. Now this right here, epigraph, you can show the heading in the book or you can hide the heading. You have the different options. So right now, epigraph will not show up on the e-reader, but it will show up in the table of contents. In chapter 1. Now this, because I have a place as sort of a subhead, I'm going to make this into a subhead. And then I can change chapter 1 if I want to call it something else. I can do that here. The other thing you can do with this that's great is you can go into styles and you can choose a book style. So this will make each and every chapter look whichever one you choose. Now mine is, I have kind of a curly font for my cover, so I'm going to go with this one. You can also go into individual elements and mix and match. So like if you want the ornamental block to be something else, you can choose this ornamental block. You can choose what the after the paragraph looks like after you have a break. So if you want the big W to continue, you can do that. I'm going to go with just plain. And then you have abilities to choose how the photographs will look in your book if you have any captions, and then additional options for formatting. I usually leave this alone. So let's go back to the contents. And now that we've chosen the styles, it shows you that this is what the first chapter will look like. Now, if this was not a subhead, let's clear the formatting and see it thinks that Los Angeles is the first words of the story. So it would format it as the beginning of the story, but it's not, and I don't want that in there. So I will say it's a subhead, and it recognizes that, oh, everyone knows Mr. Darcy doesn't exist is the first line of the story. So let's do a quick save. And then you can glance through these and double check that it all looks good. The note from the author is formatted just fine. About the author, you can change this to, you know, your name, about Sarah Rosette. This is a great feature I like down here. You can do this, you can say, you put in your Twitter handle, and then it gives you a little image and your link over here. And then you can also put in the other information. So this one, is, you can't see it, there it is. And the links are set so that it will automatically go. I really like that because it's more visual. So because I have that, I can delete this out. And there you can see what it looks like. Other books. Now this is another case where Vellum thought these were two separate documents. So what I'm going to do is merge them again. And we'll pop them in there, and then I can delete, and it realizes that this is a block, this is a block, this is a block. And see, it's also, you can check the hyperlinks. If they're not in, it's pretty simple. You just highlight what you want to be a hyperlink, go up here and click web link, and you can put in what you need there. You can also do, well, now it thinks that's that, so we're going to remove link. There we go. You can also do store links. So if you want to make each link to a separate store, you can do that here. And you can put it in, and you can select your platforms, and you can generate different documents for each vendor. So that is about it. So a couple minutes and my whole book is complete. I hit generate, and then you choose if you want to generate for iBooks, Kindle. You can choose separately, or I usually just do a generic EPUB and generate it. Show files. Go over here and take a quick look and make sure it looks good. So here's your table of contents, your copyright, the epigraph without epigraph at the top, and then you've got your chapter 1. So I will Let's make it a little bit smaller and let's click through a little bit. So here you see the page break, or the section break that we put in. Now let's go to the end and look at the back matter. So you've got your note from the author, about the author, and your book. So if you wanted to put in an image here for the about the author, you could put in an image. If you wanted to change this, I usually change this to the story behind the story, so you could go back in and do that. And that's really simple. I'll show you how to do that. So you do that, type that in, hit save, and then generate again, generate, and it's going to generate over the document that it just created. So let's go look at that. There it is, the story behind the story. So that way you will always have the most current file if you just go in and regenerate your book. If you want different copies, if you want a copy for your reading team, possibly review copies, you'll want to name that something different than your final version, so you can keep them separate. So there you go, one ebook formatted in a pretty short amount of time. I hope it was helpful. Thanks for watching.